He must have stuck his dick in a white woman for her
You're
to act like that.
stupid.
I
Just
believe it,
kidding,
bro.
cuz.
He cheated on
Yo,
her first with a white woman, and she just can't
I
handle it.
mean,
She's like, I
maybe
ain't never
I
loved
don't
your
know.
ass. I don't love you. I love the Crack King from the Crack King podcast. The Crack King podcast. A breath of fresh air when new kicks on. What about Jada Pinkett Smith talking about how she never loved Will and how she didn't want to be married and almost like he forced her to be with him. She didn't want to be with him, and
Okay, all right. So you're
it's
telling me now?
and
I didn't hear everything.
then
I
they're
know that was
saying
coming out.
then
Right.
Daz. Let me finish. Then Daz Dillinger saying that she had an inappropriate affair with one of the guys from Crisscross because he was heavy onto drugs and she was heavy into drugs. Is this a thing for her where she gets these drug addicted youngsters and take advantage of them? And then in the process to her issues, she slanders and demasculates her husband.
Brother, people can only do to you what you allow them to do. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of times we see people for who they are. Well, we see people for who they are, but because that's not what we want, we choose to ignore certain signs. I can't really speak on the brother's marriage, because I don't know the ins and outs, the intricacies. And once the door closes, it's easy to take a soundbite and say, okay, this is what it is, let's bash it. But at the end of the day, that's his wife. He married her. They've been married all of this time. I don't and never will agree with people playing out the situation in the public, because you're gonna have people
And
that's
that's
gonna have.
exactly what she's doing
But if
with the
that's what
kids.
she's doing, if that's what, once again, dog,
He must have stuck his dick in a white woman for her
you're
to act like
stupid.
that. I believe it, bro. He cheated on
Yo,
her first with a white woman, and she just can't
I
handle it.
mean,
She's like, I
maybe
ain't never
I
loved
don't
your
know.
ass. I don't love you. I
I don't
love
know.
Tupac. He would never do that to me. He would never fuck a white woman on me.
Yo, maybe, but I mean, or maybe it may be a situation to whereas, you know, maybe that was always her love. Maybe she always loved Pac. Maybe she tried to, kind of readjust her lifestyle because he wasn't here, because allegedly he wasn't the right person for her. I don't know. I mean,
How was
everything
he
is
not
about
the right person,
speculation,
man?
dog.
He was a high value man, and she was, I'm not gonna say she wasn't a high value woman, but she had access to high value men, and
Okay,
she
but in
picked
the
her
same
one
respect,
and had two
okay,
kids.
but
And
in the
now the
same
kids are
respect,
grown, and
well,
she's like, "Oh,
nah,
I picked
it
him
ain't.
just because he was the Fresh Prince, but I
But
didn't love him."
if that's why she did it, and she's saying that she doesn't love him, she's never loved him, and all the rest of that, then that's going to speak for itself. I don't necessarily subscribe to getting married and you not being in love with somebody, but I don't live in Hollywood and I'm not a Hollywood person. And I know that there's different ways, just like the music business, it's different moves that people do. You could choose to do it or you could not do it. It's like I tell young artists now. When a young artist approaches me about doing music, okay, first thing they ask me if I still do music. And I'm like, yeah, I do it, but I do it for me. And he's like, well, what do you mean by that? I said, I mean that in the respect of that I do it because I love it. I said, if you're trying to be famous or you trying to be rich, I'm not the person to talk to. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying that because I'm not successful per se in that respect. I'm not telling them that because of that. What I'm telling them that is if you do it for these reasons over here and you don't do it for the love, if you don't do it for the heart, if you don't do it just because that's where you at with it, you're never going to be happy because you're going to chase certain criterias and certain things to meet somebody else's standards. It's the same thing with marriages. It's the same thing, whatever. So if that's what she said, and if that's how she feels, we can look at it two ways, which is the theory of the glass half empty or glass half full. The reality of the matter is that you can look at it two ways. You can look at it like, well, fuck it. At least, excuse me. At least I know, you know what I'm saying, now, and I can get somebody that want me and rock out for the rest of my life and chill. Or it could be a situation to whereas, you know, you put yourself in this, they venting and they venting out in the public and they trying
But
to
it just
embarrass you.
don't. It fucks
Dog,
with
there's a
his
lot of
image.
it
It
does
fucks with
it
his
does
image,
and
man.
it doesn't, but there's a lot of things that have been said about them kids.
Man, things not from his fucking wife,
No, listen to what I'm saying. I'm
from
talking about
motherfucking
rumors.
Skeezels or whatever, but not from his fucking wife and not his daughter sitting there.
No,
That
dog.
fucks
That's
with
not
his
what I'm
image,
saying.
man.
That's not what I'm saying, dog. There've been things that have been put out there. I'm talking about there have
Sensual
been
insinuations,
no, there have been insinuations and implications made
but
on
not
both of
from
them.
his fucking wife.
Right.
All that shit don't matter, man. Whoever
Right,
said them rumors,
okay,
that shit don't matter. When your wife
all
come
right, but are
on
we mad?
her platform,
Listen to what I'm saying. But are you
Gotcha.
mad because she said it, or are you mad because she didn't handle herself in the way that you think a wife should?
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that. I'm mad at what it does for the culture and the community. Because there's a lot of couples out there. There's a lot of black families. Listen, man, I'm telling you that look up to that shit, that strive for that shit. You know what I mean? And for that to come out, that doesn't.
But what does that say
that
about
separates us, man. That separates us.
But I don't. But it separates us because we allowed to. That's their fucking life. That ain't got nothing to do with us. You understand what I'm saying? If you as a father.
They are black elites.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not. No, they're not.
They get our dollars.
Give them, dog. That's what we give them, man. We gotta stop looking at artists and stop looking at actors and stop looking at athletes like they're not human beings, dog. If you an asshole, you an asshole regardless. That's just your fucking profession, and that's the problem. We keep looking at them like they are something because they're on a fucking electrical box. You've been to sets before.
No, but this is what it is. When you're sitting there for years perpetrating a fraud and acting like you're this perfect couple, this is how you do to get to this. Just like he had a whole series. Just like he had a whole series about mental health and loving yourself and all that shit, and people was inspired by that shit. When you get up here and act like you elite, and then from the beginning you're supposed to tell everybody you flawed. There wasn't supposed to be no rumors. They supposed to have been said, "Yo, we in an open relationship. That's right. We do this. We do that."
They didn't.
That's why I say it's detrimental, because they get community money from us.
You're right, but then maybe we need to stop looking at them. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
For salvation, and start looking within ourselves and as a community. Because I'm just telling you, other cultures, yeah, they do it, but then in a minute they'll be like, "You're a fucking asshole," and they'll move on. We get stuck. I mean, just being honest, we get stuck. Why are we stuck?
Well, definitely. All right, let's get into this motherfucking.
Okay, because Whitney and Bobby wasn't perfect.
Fuck it. Whitney and Bobby. Whitney and Bobby.
I mean, I'm just keeping it 1,000.
Yeah, Whitney and Bobby wasn't perfect at all. They was real about theirs. They was real about theirs.
But they was real. Thank you. They was real.
They was
real. That ain't for me. I want my life to be different. That's how you got to move and stop focusing on these fucking celebrities, man. They humans. They still human.
I'm not so much the celebrity of it. I'm so much as the relationship of it. Like, that's not what you do to your husband. That's not what you do to your wife. Right. You know what I mean?
But we're supposed to learn those lessons. Oh, I agree with you 100%. I don't agree with them putting their business out there.
But there's people that admire them, and they're setting suit.
No doubt.
But then even like with the women.
Then once again, why the fuck you gotta find somebody to follow instead of
put them down?
See, I come from a different era, kid. So I'm never going. You know the era I come from. The era I come from is you supposed to be original. You supposed to Will was Will. came out when
they came from our. That's why I say they have power, because they came from our era. It could have been one of us as the Fresh Prince. That's why it's like that's why people look up to. That's why they look
Same
at these
respect.
things.
Pac was Pac, Biggie was Biggie,
Yeah.
Flash was Flash, Will was Will, Rakim was Rakim, Kane was Kane, Paris was. Everybody was who they were.
Yeah.
This is who you are. What happens is these motherfuckers go. I'm telling you, dog, because I've seen it. These motherfuckers go to these little Hollywood parties. They go to these industry joints. They get in there, and the motherfucker tell them, "Nah, that's how you supposed to move." And then you looking at them like, "I don't move like that. Like, what the fuck you talking about?" But that's, and if anybody that's real will tell you, yeah, that's how they move. Yo, if you want to do this, you got to do this. If you want to do this, you got to do that. If you want to be successful, you got to wear your hair like that. Oh, you got to dress like this. Why the fuck I got to dress like that? Why can't I just be the no? Oh, well, it's not like that. I'm telling you, I've had people tell me certain things where I just blank out, and it's like, yo, then they don't just fuck with me because I'm not gonna do that. Like, that's not what I got into the business for. Some of these motherfuckers got in their business for 3 things: to be famous, rich, and idolized. They don't have a backbone. They don't have substance. They really ain't about shit. But because the presentation made them seem like there was something they wasn't, eventually the truth gonna come out, whether it's 10, 15, 30, 50 years. And when it does, you gotta deal with it. So you want to be
breath of fresh air. This is the Crack King Podcast. A breath of fresh air with new kicks on.